Yeah, I need to excuse him. 49, 48, 47, 46. We had a good conversation the other day, Rinda.
We did yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday. And you like all the document I sent you?
Oh yes, I'm reveling in the documents.
I think we have a lot of document for ITC we can use in preparedness for teacher for when there is problem in school.
Yes, I agree.
2, 1, 0. Hello, hello. Hello from Oregon in the United States. And here we are, I am in Israel. Dr. Lebovitz was supposed to join us, but unfortunately he's in transit. If he can, he will at any moment, but it's very possible that he won't be able to join us. So thank you so much for being with us. It's a very important topics, which is basically we'll talk about positive personal effectiveness into classroom, how we can bring it there. But more generally, we are talking here about parenting and education. So I want to welcome Dr. Rinda Montgomery, who is one of the members of the Mental Wellness Society. She is also the vice president for the academic affair in the Mindful Choice Academy, which is the institution, the education arm of the Mental Wellness Society. In brief, Mental Wellness Society is a community where we get together for scientists and educators and psychologists. We have over 275 now members in 72 countries. We have many activities. We have 4 groups, 4 very different groups: health and wellness, agent of change, which are more how to help to streamline company and organization, education parenting, psychology, life coaching, social workers, therapists. Each group is at least 50 to 70 members. But we work together, we exchange information together, and the group, Rinda is involved more in education and parenting because that's her background. But not only that, she is involved in every aspect of education and academic affair in, as I said, the Mindful Choice Academy, which is the education arm of the Mental Wellness Society. So I want to introduce Dr. Montgomery, who is a very skilled, seasoned educator, international educator. She has been teaching in Far East. She has been teaching in many, doing activities in many countries. So she brings a flavor of education, but also expertise as an educator in different countries. So, Rinda, why don't you present yourself and also your company because you are the co-founder of Paradigm Learning System. So, tell us all about you.
Thank you. Um, this is my 37th year in education. If you don't count the years I worked with my mother, who was a teacher, designing curriculum, setting up learning stations, etc., correcting papers. I've worked mostly on the West Coast, but I have worked in Asia, and I've consulted with schools in Australia and Canada. And with one organization that I worked with, I traveled to at least 25 states, working with teachers in various regions of the country, teaching them about various aspects of instruction and curriculum design. And I met my business partner about, I think, 15 years ago. Steve Boynton was a newly acquired superintendent at one of the districts that I served. And he asked me if I could help him with his school district because they were ranked 664th out of 197th in the state. And so we worked together. We redesigned everything. He was the first superintendent I had worked with, and I've worked with close to 50 who took the work as seriously and delved into it as deeply as he did. And in 3 years, we had his school at 8th in the state by state testing. We also had developed their own career and technical education program and aligned with the local community college so that students could graduate with a high school diploma and an associate's degree or an industry recognized certification in one of the trades that they worked in. I think they had 8. So about that time, we wrote a book on our experience, and that's when we dubbed the name Paradigm Learning Systems. 2 years ago, just in time for the pandemic, we started the business itself, the two of us together. In between that time, we had taken our practices to various school districts in other states, other countries, and kind of fine-tuned the program, the business practices, or the instructional practices and the model. And so now we work with government agencies and schools, K-12 and higher ed, and businesses and associations, and anyone who's interested in learning solutions and creating experiences that make a real difference. And then we met you guys. So for over a year ago, Dr. Meyer contacted me through LinkedIn, and we had a video conversation, and he invited me to become a member. I think I was the first in Oregon to become a member. And after that, we began having conversations about how Paradigm and the Mental Wellness Society could partner together, work together, because we found such synergy in our ideas and our concepts and our goals for learning. And so we are now in a pilot program with the first thing we've designed together.
You want to talk about it?
Sure.
Okay.
So it's based on the research done by the Mental Wellness Society, Drs. Meyer and Leibovich, over decades, I know at least 2 decades each. And so it has that clinical background, that experiential background. And it is a resilience for personal effectiveness program. Currently, the pilot project that we have going is for grades 5 through 8, which would be 10-year-olds to 13-year-olds. And it, as I said, it is in pilot project in Oregon, and Missouri. The program is meant to be about 15 minutes a day, kind of a homeroom activity or a small group activity. And we're teaching the students through the imagery of taking a trip, taking a hike through your life. And there are switchbacks in this hike. And during the switchbacks, there are different treks. And so this is how the kids learn the principles and practices that are actually the core of the Mental Wellness Society Mindful Choice. The evoke cards are the quintessential learning components of this model. And so we have, we're translating them, or we're revising them to fit the needs of children. And so we support them with, videos and activities and sharing and learning and journaling and games and the kinds of things that help students begin to acquire these tools that help them in their lives.
Good. So it helps me to to bring here that those cards, there is 82 of them, those cards are iconic representation of skills that you need to acquire, and there is skills of things you need to do. There is things of skill you need to learn not to do, because you need to learn not to get impulsive and not to let your emotion decide for yourself. And there is also the skills that you want to achieve. So we have three: the prevent, facilitate, achieve. And the idea, because we have interviewed a lot of our clients and patients, and we have found that they were saying, when I'm in your practice, it's wonderful. I feel great. And you know everything about me. But 2 hours later, I don't remember what you told me, which make me feel good. On Mind Me, we record the meeting, we give them a copy of the recording, and we give them exercise from 1 week to the other week. So we realize that words are the start of miscommunication. Because, for example, football, soccer could mean different things. There is things which mean something to you, and for the professional practitioner, something else. So that's why we call it evoke, because it evokes something to your mind, but it evokes the same to the teacher, to the parents, or to the school kids. We are talking about the same thing. And when you have seen this type of icon, then you remember. So it's easier to remember an image than to remember words. That's one. Two, I was involved in research at Carnegie Mellon. I was involved in Driver Training and Safety Institute on a federal grant for the Congress of United States. And my field of research was on split-second decision making. How do you train yourself to make good decisions and thinking about a good decision and not just reacting? And we have found that you end up where you look. So that's reinforced also those icons, because if you look at the icon, you will go in that direction and you will acquire that skill. So that facilitates the reasoning, but there is more to it. The more to it is it's a very deep element in what we do. You end up where you look, and you don't look with your eyes. You look with your mind. But most of the time, because of the emotion, we are human, and humans have a flight, fight, freeze, mammalian response. You need to go above that, because they are only reactions. So you need to acquire a way to control yourself to reason and make the best choice. So we are talking here about different tools and different methods that we have to develop resilience for a life by choice and not a life by accident. And we have been teaching that to professionals, we have been teaching that to adults, to executives, to all type of people. And with Dr. Montgomery, we said, hey, why don't we start to share it with children at school? Because they need not to react on their emotion. Most of the kids, they even choose a job based on their emotion. They don't even have an idea of what will be the job they will do when they come out of college. But okay, they have an idea, they do it, it looks good. There is better ways to choose. So that's where we say we need to bring that to school. And that's where Rinda was very much involved in developing an approach like, for example, breathe, think, choose. Because if you don't breathe, your emotion might kick in. But if you breathe, you will calm yourself, particularly if you breathe well, if you use internal deeper breathing, inhaling by the nose, exhaling by the mouth. Then, because you get more fresh oxygen, you can think better. And because you can think, you can choose. And the choice is very important in with this image. If you don't see a choice possible between two possibilities, if and when you don't see two possibilities, and that happens many times in the life of kids, but adult too, you see only one way. You follow only one path. It's not a choice. And because of that, it's an emotional choice, which is not a reason choice. A choice has to be a choice between not minimum and maximum, to know how to look at things in a binary way, this or that, this or not, uh, in order to be able to see both and choose one. And that's the key of the system, which can help a lot the kids. Then come what do you want to achieve? If you just want to achieve to have a tantrum, okay, you have a tantrum, and then what? So maybe you want to achieve to succeed. Let's look at what you want to succeed. Valid for children, valid for parents. So it's about looking at the goal and your destination. So this is what I wanted to ask you, because what happened to our children when in the two last years of their social and emotional development? I'm sure you can speak about that, Rinda.
Yes. UNICEF is indicating that over 1.6 billion children and youth have been affected by the pandemic. And aside from all of the risks related to the pandemic, there are other agencies reporting issues around health and education and economic detriments due to the pandemic, all kinds of mounting violence and emotional exploitation and abuse, and just emotional trauma. The students are living in trauma. And even when they have homes that are safe and secure, there is such a difference between going to school face to face and being able to meet people face to face. There are some children that in schools that we support that indicate that they're not allowed to go outside ever. Well, they weren't during the height of the pandemic. So about a year ago, the Physicians for Human Rights posted an article on the pandemic burnout that children are experiencing. They're saying that up to 30% of the youth, 30% more youth ages 12 to 17 are having mental health issues, and 24% higher for children ages 5 to 11. That's phenomenal. And something needs to be done about it. In my years of teaching and teaching teachers, with multiple universities, the phrase social emotional learning has been the key phrase that has been used, but it has come to cover so many things that are not research-based, that are fads almost, and they work for some kids for some things, but they didn't have that strong base behind it. And so one of the greatest aspects of learning the mindful choice model is that these are tools that you can actually use with the students. As you said, the tools that are attached to icons, and then in our BTC program, attached to activities and experiences. So the students are learning to use those tools in their lives, both in school and in home and in all of the environments that they find themselves in. And it's more than just health, it's about well-being. And so we're calling it resilience for personal effectiveness. It just goes above and beyond anything we've worked with before, anything I've worked with before in education.
Yeah, also during the past 2 years, there have been a lot of social isolation, for sure, but there have been also an increasing number of screen time, on not necessarily good habit, on good place. And in fact, they learn a certain society, and they learn an image that they see in TikTok, in the different social media.
Yeah.
But that's not real life. That's the life which is force-fed to them. So that's why we need to teach them to think. Because many of them, even the channels they do, what they do during the day, or the channels they look, it's not a choice, it's an habit. A choice is I can do this or I can do that again. They don't choose. They only go one way. So our job is to teach them to think. And that's one of the problems of the society. On an adult, there is about 45,000 decisions made a day. How many do we remember? Very few, because they are done by automatism. But if we apply what we are saying, we help to make those decisions and to develop the intellect capacity to look at something in an intellectual way, engaging the prefrontal cortex, where is what you decide where you should, instead
Yes.
of just following your emotion. And most of the kids, since little age, they are not trained to think. They are trained to follow their emotion or not follow their emotion, but they are trained to deal with emotion when we need to train them to deal with ideas and consequences, positive or negative. There is
Yeah.
positive consequence we can develop, there is negative consequence. So what are you working on recently, lately? Tell us about what's your new projects.
Well, my colleague and I at Paradigm Learning Systems, Cassie Barrett, have been working with you and Dr. Leibovitz since November, being coached ourselves
Leibovitz is
in
my
my,
partner. As I
yes.
said, he will try to join us. Yeah.
So one of my partners and I have been working with you and your partner to learn the model, to learn mindful choice as a lifestyle more than just a concept. And so we've been doing that since November, and then working on the Breathe, Think, Choose development and the pilot projects with schools. And in addition to that, we are working with you to launch the Mindful Choice Academy, which is going to be a collection of professionals around the world who will provide courses and master classes, seminars and webinars and
online education.
Online, right. And some of it will be synchronous, but a lot of it will be asynchronous. And the goal is to provide support to individuals around the world, professionals who need either just the knowledge themselves, for example, parents and educators, therapists, medical personnel. You have a program in Lincoln, Nebraska now going that's about mental, whole body, mind and body wellness, an institute there. And all of the learning that takes place in this is going to happen through the Academy, which is online. We're working with professionals around the world and translating the work that they do, blending it with the concepts of mindful choice so that we can present something that people can see. This is how to blend the two. This is how they can expand on one another.
Very good. Very good. So what do you see in mindful choice tool also for teacher preparedness? Because kids is one thing, but the teacher, and there is not just, I see four activities in the teacher. One is to deal with the kids and teach them. And when I say teach, I would say to become a pedagogue, because pedagogy is not teaching. Its pedagogy is much better. You might be able to develop on that, Rinda, because I think it's a big subject. The second activity for the educator is to deal with himself. And it's not because you have difficult kids or you have kids which are definitely a little bit oppositional, or there is a difference in modern education. It's not anymore, this is my course, this is what I'm paid to deliver to you. We are now, again, it's backward design, and our method is backward design. But even in education, backward design means what is it that the students will live that he learned from you? What
Okay.
will you bring to change a life positively for lifelong for that kid? Which is the difference between education and training. Education is broad and for lifelong. Training is an immediate skill that you can apply. We are talking about, and that's an important point. We can give to kids education and training, and we should give them both at the same time.
So one of the core concepts of paradigm learning systems is proficiency-based teaching and learning. Showing is better than telling. I don't, I'm okay if you can pass a multiple choice test, but it doesn't tell me you know the concepts, and it doesn't tell me you can do anything with the concepts. So knowing and doing are the two bases for which most standards are designed. If you go to Australia and look at their standards, I was helping there when they first launched their latest set of national standards. They also have a set of attitudes or perceptions or ways of seeing the world that they want the students to have. But all of these can come down to showing. How do I measure this by what you're doing, how you're behaving, how you act differently from the way you act before. So all of our K-12 design is project-based. We want the students to solve a real-world problem. All of our college-age courses are project-based. When you get through a course series, you are designing a model that you can then take back to your community, your education community, and spread the word and teach other people to use this model too. We are having people solve problems, and solving problems is a show me kind of activity. With Mental Wellness Society and Breathe, Think, Choose, and all the work that we're doing with the Mindful Choice Academy, everything is going to be geared to blending the knowledge with behaviors and attitudes, dispositions, as it were, if you were in your doctoral program. Those dispositions tell us that you can use the materials, use the tools, use the knowledge to invest in your life and the lives of others, to make a difference. The kind of difference that is although altruism, there's nothing wrong with altruism, but if you don't take care of yourself, if you're not well yourself, you haven't enough to give. And so being well, being complete, being whole, mind, body, movement, as the conference in Paris talks about, focuses on making sure that you are choosing for yourself, that there's alignment with what is correct thinking, that you know the difference between emotions and the attitudes which create feelings, that you can choose what those feelings are based on the attitudes that you choose. All of those skills are vital for everyone, but it's an amazingly crucial time for young people, especially because of our trauma-informed environment, embedded environment, to be able to sort out the difference between emotions and feelings, the choices that they have, and how to think through those choices so that they can head towards their chosen destination. This is also vital for parents. So we're creating a parent component. We're creating a component for instructional assistants. We're creating a college course for the teachers, also teaching school counselors and administrators. So we want everyone who's going to adopt a model to make sure that, from the paraprofessionals in the school to the parents and grandparents and families to all of the professionals working in the school, everyone understands this model and can guide the students in every choice that they make appropriately.
Yeah, also, so the second task for the educator is to be able to not say, do as I say and not as I do, but be able to himself be trained on resilience to pressure of society. Because in fact, what we learn and what we teach our kids should not be what was good 10 years ago, but what they need to know now, which will be useful for them to grow on to bloom in the society. And the society is full of hurdles, and more hurdles, because we live in a society where the problem are not the people. The problem is for the people to resist the social stress. on the social, economical, all the type of stress. So you need to think about how you are a survivor and not just how you are a follower, but how you are a survivor is definitely a skill you want to have. The third activity of the educator is to deal with the parents. So that's where we want to address how you can work with the parent for the benefit of the kid and not how you pit when the kid has a great talent to pit the parents and the educators went to against each other.
Sure.
But you need to realize it's a team, it's a teamwork, and you need to work together. And the fourth activity now, which did not exist before, is what happens when there is a mass shooting. What happens when there is a calamity, natural or man-made? And that's something where you want preparedness of all the people involved in the education system because it's where you have the most precious jewel of the community, the kids. And if the kids are hurt, the society will be hurt, is hurt, and will be. So this is very important. And that's the fourth element where we see we need to be active.
It's been interesting to note that some of our pilot project, one of our pilot projects is happening in a virtual environment, so online school. And so there are parents in the background and older siblings, younger siblings, listening to the BTC coursework activities. And they're coming back with comments too. The parents, I never thought of it that way. This is interesting. This is a different way of looking at things. Well, now that they're thinking this way, wow, things are changing at home. And it's really nice to hear because it's a pilot and it's just begun and was just begun in January. So the families are involved, at least on the external side. I'm looking forward to doing
that they want it or not.
Also, whether they want it or not, but they are enjoying it.
I think it's time for us to ask if there is any of our viewers or listeners who have any question for us, because we have a great discussion, Rinda and myself, but maybe some of you have some question you want to ask. Anybody have any question you would like to ask? And if you don't, then we will continue with the next segment, where we have in Mindful Choice on the Mental Wellness Society, we help to develop coping skill on strengths that should be developed. And we have found that the new development of education on a personal level is not just a lot of educational subject, but it's first to develop positive personal effectiveness. You want to be able to be effective, efficient, to be able to operate in the society, not just to operate in the society, but to know to operate yourself and operate in a positive way. And that's again where you have a choice. You can operate in not so positive way. It's what we call the try and fail method, or you can try to have a positive approach. It's an attitude of having a positive personal effectiveness. And this is something where we have in fact, it's a 4 steps: recognition, step 2, awareness, step 3, choice, step 4, evaluation. I will start with the last one, evaluation. Once you have that process, it is not, because it could be the first step or the last step, because after that you come back to number 1. But so number 4 is self-evaluation. It's not about am I good? It's not self-judgment. It's not about you, but it's about how the process you were trying to achieve has been achieved. How did you came closer to your destination? How well did you implemented the process of 1, 2, 3, 4? 4 being how you can make it better, because humans are self-reprogrammable if you think about it. If you don't think, what monkey see, monkey do. But if you think about it, we are reprogrammable, and we are evolutive based on taking the pros, the cons, the goods, the not. And it's not a question of good or bad. Actually, yes, good and bad. What is a good decision to make? Because before the self-evaluation, you have choice. A good decision is something which brings you closer and quicker to your destination. A bad decision is something which takes you far away and which will take more time for you to achieve your destination. As simple as that. So the judgment is not, I made a mistake. No. The question, the evaluation is, how can I do a better choice to get quicker to my destination? So the full process is step one, recognition. It's really about looking at what is the destination you want, recognize where you are and where you want to go. The step two is the awareness, is how can I get there? On how you can get there, I can do this or I can do that. It's to be aware of your possibilities. If I do this, there will be this consequence. If I do positive or negative, actually. If I do that, there will be also consequence, because there is no action without consequence in life, good or bad. And then comes the choice. When you are aware of your possibility, and we like to explain people that mentally human can only explore two options to make one choice. You bring it to this or that, or this or not. At that moment, you make a choice. And you do a choice based on reasoning, based on elements which are quantifiable, which are not subjective but objective, and which are measurable. Because if you don't measure, if you don't have element of measure, you have no way to know if you succeed or not. You make that choice, and then you self-evaluate, and you make it again, and that's the way we do. We applied it even to our own organization. We are helping in Ukraine, and we have developed a task force to help in Ukraine. And we said, let's recognize how are we doing? What do we want to do? Well, we recognize that we were helping an happy few group of people. How do we do more people? How do we go to millions of people? That was the recognition of our goal. We want to help millions of people. So then we move to awareness. If we do this, we'll get results. If we give them, for example, a bio feedback app, they will be able to see how their mind influence their body and how their body can calm them and help them to avoid stress or to be discouraged or to depress. So that's where you choose different tools, different ways to get there. And then we choose to say, okay, we will do this program, this program, this program. And what we have found is that the people buy in because we have clarity. We are not all over the map. We give priority. We give reasoning of what makes us do things, very important things in mindful choice. And we have in the Mental Wellness Society, we never ask why. We ask what. Because why is a blaming game. It's not my fault. I did not have any possibility to choose. It's because of him. It's because... No. Why is a blaming game. Take out why from your language, even when you speak with your kid. What have you done? What prevented you to do it? What were you thinking when you did that? What would you like to do? What is an exchange where you get data? That's a very important. And then you do self-evaluation. Maybe you want to speak a little bit about those things, Rinda.
This is an amazing model.
How you're teaching it.
Now I'm
Now,
teaching
when
it.
you learn it for yourself. You can maybe speak about your process of learning for you,
Okay,
and,
yeah.
and now you are teaching it.
The process of learning it has been really surprising in a number of points. There have been those aha moments that have transitioned my perception of reality and my perception of my obligations in life. And so there are certain things that I deal with and don't deal with based on thinking things through better, right? I picked this up yesterday. I thought you would like this.
Good, true.
Making sure.
Don't look back. You are not going back there.
I'm not
Yeah.
going that way. What
We
direction am I
say,
going?
we have a card. Your past does not condition
Doesn't
your
define your
future.
future, right?
Actually, card number 28. I will, no, 20, yeah, 28. Your past does not condition your future.
That's right.
Because at the present, you can choose what will be your future.
And card 31, you end up where you look. So if you're looking back, you're going to go back. But if you look forward, so having that different focus of a different kind of destination. And one of the things I loved about the definition in mindful choice of destination is that it includes not only your job, which is the things you do, but your lifestyle, your perspective on things, your activities, your how you want to live your life, not just what you want to do, but what kind of a life do you want to have? That's a different definition of destination than I had before. And that it can change based on circumstances, but you still have a direction that you're going. And when you have that direction clear, then when you reach those dual pathways, as the BTC cover page shows, you can choose from those two choices because you know your destination, you know which direction will take you where you want to go. It's made for me choosing much easier. It's made writing curriculum much easier. It's made talking with students and teachers and parents much easier because you can start with, what are you trying to get out of this? What do you see as your destination? What are you trying to accomplish? And that changes the whole language. As you said, it's not about blame. We don't ask why. We might, guess in our minds what motivations might be there, but that's not the point. That's not going to help us because we'll treat it the same way. We'll work with the student the same way. We'll work with the parents the same way, as long as we know what they're trying to accomplish. And then we think through how to get there. So my approach to things have changed drastically. People who know me well have mentioned that I've changed significantly in my dealings with my life and my dealings with everything around me. It's been if anybody has the opportunity to get coaching and mindful choice, take it. Do the journaling, do the activities, take the online courses, learn the evoke cards, learn the model, and practice it. It's just really makes, first of all, it makes life make much more sense. It makes it easier because it makes more sense. It also stopped me from feeling responsible for things that happened that I could see had nothing to do. Well, like the model you were just showing on the choices. And self-evaluation is not, did it work out? Self-evaluation is, did I follow the plan? Sometimes things get in the way, but did I follow the plan? Did I follow through? Did I measure up myself? And that,
the process. The process.
Yeah, the process. And that's a completely different question.
On the process, take out the emotional weight. We recognize there is an emotion, but a human can choose to act or not on that emotion. An emotion comes in 180 milliseconds, meaning less than a fifth of a second. But okay, you can choose to do it or not because human can.
Yeah.
Other mammalian cannot. I would like to take a comment of Mukhtar Ali Burfat. And he's saying he's a teacher in high school in Pakistan. And he said, totally different environment of Asian school. Well, Mukhtar, it's not totally different of Asian school. Actually, we are working with some associates in Kuala Lumpur for different parts of Southeast Asia, and we are going in different countries. No, is different all over the world. The method we are talking comes from research, and it comes from research, but it's not what you talk about which is important. Is what you expect, what you talk about will have as an effect on the student, on how they will use it as a tool. That is closer to where you live, the Chinese proverb of if you love somebody, you don't just give him a fish, we teach him to fish. And guess what? The environment where we fish change every day. And you need to learn to fish in any condition, not just when the weather is great and the water is calm and you have all the tools. Sometimes you have to deal with the cards you have in your hand. And the card is not a top deck. It's but you have to learn because what you need to do is to play. And to play one card and then another one will come. But you need to realize your life does not stop in any given moment. What in any given moment you have a moment after and after and after, because at the moment you have no more time, you don't even realize it, you are dead, you are not here. As long as you can breathe, there is always a moment after,
Breathe,
and you
think,
can
and
use it in
choose.
a positive way.
Yeah.
Linda, I would
That-
like you to give the closing remarks.
For those who are really interested in making sure that whoever is the learner can demonstrate in their lives that what they're learning is being enacted, is making a difference, that they're showing proficiency, that they're demonstrating that they can use it to solve their problems, other problems, the world's problems, because that's what life is here's a situation, here's a situation, here's a situation. How do we resolve this? How do we move forward? And there's always a moving forward. Even if you're staying still, the situation's not going to stop. You might choose not to choose now, but you're still watching the situation. This is a different way of thinking. And this is what I would recommend for anybody involved in teaching, learning, creating learning experiences for anyone, that this approach to thinking, to understanding the difference between your emotions, which you can't control, and your feelings and choices, which you can control, and your attitudes. This just changes the whole approach to how you deal with life and life circumstances.
Thank
and
you.
so I really recommend that you look into mindful choice.
I have a measurement stick, and I have been coaching and helping many clients, and they come with a face, and they come with a problem or problems with an S, and they come with different things. And after 2 or 3 sessions of the method we do, because it's based on where do you want to go from here? It's not just you want to stop the pain. That's not a good destination. You want to have a good life. You want to be happy. The measurement stick to me is a smile on the face. They come with a face. On 2, 3 sessions from there, they have a smiling face. They sleep better. They feel better. I think it's the same in a class. I've been teaching different class, and you can see that there is class where they make face because what you say is really not interesting, and you don't help them to be happy in life. And I think a smile on the face of the people you have in front of you is certainly the priority we need to have. So thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for
Feel
having
free
me.
to contact Rinda or myself or our organization. We really look only to one thing: make life better for everybody and this world a better world for our children. Thank you so much, and see you another time. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Rinda.
Thank you. I
That
appreciate
is
it, Celeste.
yeah,
Okay.
it's a good session.
Let me know when the link is done so I can pass it around.
Yes, I'll
Thank
just have
you.
to edit it. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.